And you guys have had so many players come into the lineup here after being injured. You've got guys who've gone out. What does a day like today do for you all, just to have some practice time when it's been, I feel like, a sprint to start the season?
Yeah, I mean, changing lineup, gives us an opportunity just to kind of, work with each other and obviously get a feel for, the guys that we're on the court with. You get two guys back and then two guys leave, and one of them wants to be here today. So, I'm glad to be back. I feel good, and we'll hold it down until our other guys come back. But these days are good for us just to kind of get a good feel for the guys that we're going to be on the court with.
To maintain the consistency when you have all these different lineups?
I mean, I think it's the personnel. All of our guys are, interchangeable and able to play regardless of, who's out there with them and what's asked of them, game by game. So that plays a huge factor in it. I mean, when you have, guys like Alex Caruso, who's just like can play at any position and is an elite player, you can put him out there with anybody. And I think we have a lot of guys like that. So that makes it easy for us to just kind of, have a consistent style of playing that we can always bet on.
How did it feel for you, just personally, being back out there after missing so much time?
Yeah, I mean, felt good. Just the competitive side of, the game. Obviously missed it. Sitting on the sidelines, you're like itching to get out there. So being able to go out there and contribute, get a win, and just play again felt great.
I asked Dub what it was like seeing you back out there, and he was like, it's great because all of us, you, him, K-Rich, we're like doing high I together. Just what's it like getting everybody back similar?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, all of us were like, outside of practice, just doing rehab and a bunch of things together. So to have all of us on the court now and, see each other kind of getting their legs back under them and, get a feel back, for the flow of the game, it's just awesome. Guys love to compete, so it feels good out there.
Marcus describes you throughout the years as a system monster. Just what has gone into that process, and what do you think it takes to really thrive in this system?
Yeah, I mean, credit to Mark. Early on when I came into the organization, he was just very, forward with, expectations and what it'll take, especially for, being a 55th pick and a guy who's trying to find his way. So I was able to kind of learn, how to buy into the system and how to, make that work for me. And, I mean, it's continuing to work. So sticking to what works and, not forgetting what put me in a position to be able to play in year 5. Coming off a championship win, those things matter. So System Monster is a huge compliment to myself, and I appreciate the organization for such a name.
He's given you also a lot of credit for taking steps forward defensively too, like guarding bigger players. How much has gone into that for you this season?
Yeah, I mean, that was a focus both in that was a focus last season and in the off season especially. Just trying to be a guy that can also be interchangeable on the defensive end, and you can rely on him to guard whoever's on the court. So I've been just kind of trying to take pride and make sure that I'm holding my end of that bargain and making sure that I'm a guy that he can put out there and trust regardless of who's on the court.
I'm having a hard time remembering you ever having an injury that kept you out, really any period of time. Was this the longest that you've ever missed in terms of basketball in your life?
Yeah, for sure, no question. Like my last injury where I missed more than a couple of games was like maybe high school. And it was like a quad contusion. So this is the first time that I've really missed games in a long time. And it's just a reminder of how much you love the game and how much you can't take it for granted. So I'm happy to be back. And while during the time it felt like a long time and I obviously missed it, it went by fast to be back out there now. So I feel good now.
Can you got a quote with famous? Obviously, you love saving basketball. When you're not able to be out there saving basketball, how do you fill your time?
Watching Chet Holmgren dunk the ball and keep the ball high and grab rebounds and chin the ball and shoot step back threes.
Can you get a real answer, please?
Just vibes. Just vibes.
Thank you, Harry.
Thanks, Wicks.
Feels like it's been so long since you guys have had a real opportunity to practice at all, just especially given so much, influx with the roster and guys available. How critical is a day like today?
It was good to get some work in. I mean, we've played the most games in the league, I think. Played the most road games in the league, I think. Or at least we're up there in those. So it's restricted at this part of the season, our ability to have a lot of practice days. But the schedule right now, because the Cup opens up a little bit and gives us some practice time, which will be good for us as we get guys back and as we work guys in.
What have you seen from AJ? Obviously, he's so relentless on his drives, but the toughness it requires to finish through a lot of the contact that he's finishing through and in just his second season. Have you seen him like have to make any adjustments over the course of time with that?
As a finisher, the highest priority is, can the guy get to those spots on the floor? I think the hardest thing about what he's doing right now is where he's getting with the ball. He's missing some finishes that I think a year from now or earlier, he's going to finish as he figures out the length, as he figures out the timing, as he figures out, and he gets more experience with that. But the hardest thing is getting the ball where he's getting it right now, and he's getting that done. So he's getting the opportunities to finish, which, like I said, will probably improve. And then the opportunities to pass. I mean, I thought in the third quarter, especially yesterday, he found like 3 straight corner threes for us that were really, really good looks that we just didn't make. But he's generating those because of where he's able to get on the floor.
And the ability for him to find those spots, is that just something that he's grown with over time, or is it something that you have to like find through film or things like that?
It's kind of what he had coming in. Like if you watch him play in college, he was relentless then as well. It's obviously a lot different level. He's had to calibrate to that probably, but he'll continue to. But he's got a great instinct for it.
Kaysen,
Yesterday that he and Kaysen are having their own little competition. We can get the most steals. Just does that go back to what you're saying about guys, being self-motivated? How good is it to see that they're challenging each other?
Yeah, this is pretty it's pretty autonomous locker room. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And I think that's a good example of it. I think it's also a team that enjoys playing the game and enjoys competing and competing together, which, as I've said many times, in an 82-game season where there's a lot of ups and downs and there's a lot of travel and it can become mundane, you have to have a team that can generate its own energy. And that's what's great about these guys is they generate their own energy because they enjoy playing, they enjoy competing, and they enjoy doing it together. So when they get around each other, there's even more of that spirit. So that's an example of that.
I know Hart's not playing right now, but recently he spoke about a conversation he had with you at the end of last season just about how he could be more efficient, impactful. And he said that he really devoted a lot of time this summer thinking about and trying to execute based off that conversation. I just wonder kind of what you've seen from him in terms of the work that he put into the summer and maybe how valuable some of that was for him.
Yeah, I think, one of the things when you've got a team that's got the depth that we have, the way to accommodate everybody and everybody's game and keep everybody confident and aggressive is to become as efficient as you can inside of your game. And so one of the things we're talking about with all the guys is, or we have been talking about, is how to become as efficient as you can within what you do. And that conversation was had with every player. It was had with him. And we have a group of guys that have the humility and the team orientation to be committed to that. And sometimes that requires giving something up that might be part of your game that you like to do. And he's done a great job of that. Now it has produced great results. His points per attempt are way up because he's getting to the rim a lot more. He's passing for more efficient shots. His screen setting's always been very good, but the rim presence that he's provided has really, really helped the team. And he's offensive rebounding more because of the spots he's getting on the court, despite the fact that he was a great offensive rebounder last year.
Almost every press conference goes out of his way to just talk about how much respect he has for you, how much you help him and the guys. How were you able to kind of generate that level of relationship with him in such a short period of time, particularly just given the fact that he wasn't a part of like the build originally?
Well, first of all, I think it's kind of a village thing that creates that type of trust, in an organization. It's never one person. I'm the head coach, so obviously I get probably more attention on that. But I think when these guys walk in the building, they trust everybody and the competence that they bring to their jobs and the fact that everybody is trying to serve them and try to make their jobs easier and try to help the team. And that's, when they park their car and they walk in the door, they see Hugs, they see Ayanna, they see the chefs they go through, and they see their PTs, strength coaches. They see all those people before they even come to the court. And all those people put the wind at their back and put the wind at the coaching staff's back so that when, they get to us, there's already a really strong foundation of trust that's built.
Talk about the guys bringing their own energy. Obviously, such a long season. You guys are like this close from being perfect. How do you guys stay so locked in?
Well, we're really far from being perfect because the game's not perfect. Possessions are never perfect. The game always provides you with opportunities to to succeed or fail on every possession. And this is a team that's really present and that embraces the competition. And yesterday's a good example of that. We didn't play well for a lot of that game. There's a lot of possessions that we didn't have our best. But there's always another possession. There's always another game. There's always another challenge. And that's what can keep your competitive juices flowing. And this team does a great job of just blocking out the distractions and competing in the next moment, next game.